Hey residents of Meepletown, today we're going to be looking at Irish Gauge by Tom Russell and Capstone Games. Now in this game we are going to be investors investing in railroads that are spreading all across Ireland, and the point of the game is to be the most savvy investor. So I say let's just dive right in and let's look at Irish Gauge by Tom Russell and Capstone Games. Alright, so this is what Irish Gauge looks like when it's set up and ready to roll. Now today I'm going to be playing with 3 mock players because this is definitely not a 2-player game the way the auctioning and the railroads go. The designer Tom Russell would absolutely not recommend that at all. So I have 3 mock players today. Also, you'll notice that some players started with stock. Now that's not how the game actually starts initially. Initially we're going to be bidding on each one of these. So we'll bid on the first yellow, then the first purple, the first orange, the first blue, and then finally the first red stock. But I thought that might be kind of boring to watch, so I went ahead and kind of did that, did a mock-up of that. And so this player starts with the red and the yellow. I over here have the purple and the blue, 1 stock for each of those, and then this player has 1 stock in the orange train. Also, each player starts with $20, but we went ahead and I pretended like we did this, so we've lost some of that money. So this player still has the most money, only having the orange stock. However, if you look here, there's only 2 orange stocks available, so that's not bad. The numbers, the way that you auction these off is the number that's the largest is the minimum starting bid. And so these are actually all in order. So the cheapest one is going to come out first for each of these. The most expensive one will come out last. And so you can tell here with yellow, there's 3 stocks available. That's it over the course, 3 shares available over the course of the game. The first one started with at least a £7 minimum bid. The last one's going to start off with a £17 minimum bid. There's 4 of the purples, only 2 in orange like I mentioned, 4 blues, and 3 of the red stocks. So after we auction off the first one of each of those, then the game is going to begin. And so I'll teach you as I kind of mock play this through. And so again, I mentioned earlier that there are 4 things that you can do on your turn. And you'll notice that, oops, I forgot one of the orange trains over here. You'll notice that the trains are in specific spots, and they actually start in their specific spots each game. You may also notice that there are cubes out here that they were drawn out randomly, and so those are cities in the game. I'll talk about that here in just a second. But the 4 things that you can do, one is you can start an auction and try to win one of these shares of stocks. The second thing you can do is you can build onto railroads that you own stock in. The third thing you can do is place a special interest cube. I'll share that here in a second. The last thing you can do is you can call for dividends, which are going to pay out. So let's just say that this first player, she is going to decide to build a railroad. So she can build into the red or yellow since she owns stock in both of those companies. And she builds based on this point build cost table up here. It's actually pretty simple. If you're placing a railroad into, now she couldn't build orange because she only has red and yellow, but if you're going to build into an easy space, which is this light green space, and there's no other trains there, then it's going to cost you 1 point. Now, every time you decide to build, you get 3 points. The points don't carry over. You don't spend money for the points. You just get 3 build points every time. So there's definitely chances are there are going to be times where you won't spend all 3, but that just is what it is. If you go into one of these spots like this, that's going to cost 1 build point. If you go into a spot that is occupied, now this could not happen because you have to build from the purple train to build off of that, or hex surrounding it. But if there were another train in this spot right here, I'll turn that around, it's going to drive me nuts, and I was to try to build into this spot, it's going to cost me 1.5. All right, so that's the way that the first section works. If you're building into a difficult hex, it's going to be 2 points, and you cannot build. So there can only be 1 railroad ever in a difficult hex. And finally, if you're going into a town, which the ones without cubes are called towns, the ones with cubes are called cities, the ones that have the red around them are called major cities. They work exactly the same way as the empty. You're going to put, it's 1 point value to build into that. It's 1.5 if there's already a railroad in that city or in that town. And so again, you've got 3 points there to build with every time. By the way, if you ever connect, a railroad ever connects all 3 major cities, there's a $12 dividend that's paid out immediately. All right, so what she is going to do is she's actually going to, like I mentioned, build a railroad. She could do yellow or red, but she sees there's competition here with the blue and doesn't want blue to build into this difficult hex here because there's only, as I mentioned, one person that can build. You cannot build into an occupied hex. So she's going to jump out and build right here into this difficult hex, which is 2 points. So she has 1 point left, which she can build into, because building into Wicklow, this town, only cost 1 because it is not occupied. So that's her whole turn. She's going to build those 2 railroads right there. All right, so now I'm going to move over to my turn, and I've only got $6 here, so I cannot start an auction, as we mentioned before, because the cheapest auction I could start is £9. I've only got £6. So I can't start that. I can build my railroad. I could do a special interest, but that doesn't make a lot of sense right now. Again, I'll talk to you about that here in a second. And it doesn't make sense for me to call for dividends yet. So I'm going to build in either the purple or into the blue railroad. And I'm upset that she's hosed me here because it's stopping me from going down into Wicklow and Arklow. But let's see here. I could go ahead. I think I'm going to go ahead and do purple and just build right on into Shannon. And that's 1 point. So I still have 2 more points. And I'm trying to think, should I expand over here? Or I think I'm going to come down here because that'll kind of, I guess that maybe that's being mean, but it'll kind of hose them because if they come up into here, it's going to cost them more points. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to keep them out of my space. So that's the second point. Now, I've got 1 more point, so I could not build into this hex here because that costs 2 points. So instead, I'm going to start building my railroad over this way. All right, so that is the end of my turn. 1, 2, 3 points. Now, this player is it's orange. Sorry, has stock in orange. If I could talk, but he's going to notice that we have less money than him, and he could go ahead right now and buy into purple or buy into blue because none of us can compete with that. And so he's looking here and he's thinking, all right, he's like, all right, John has already built he has 4 trains here, built out 3 in this purple railroad. So he's thinking, I'm just going to jump in on that. And he starts the bid off on £10. And of course, she has only 3. I've got £6. We can't compete. So smart move. He goes ahead and grabs that purple stock. It's going to cost him all this money, but hey, he's now got 2 stock here, and he's bought into this railroad that already has these. I'm frustrated because whenever someone calls for dividends, we're going to split the money now. So I spent my money to build this railroad that he's getting in on. So that's okay. That's okay. All right, so now it is her turn, and she is thinking she's going to once again expand red. So she wants to be into 2 different towns here. So she's got 1 there, so that's 1 point. Then she's actually going to go 2, 3, and is doing really well because she's making a lot more expensive for blue, which I've got a share of blue, and I'm really hating what she's doing over here because of that. All right, so now that it's my turn again, because she's done with her turn, I want to expand blue because I can go for purple, but I'm splitting dividends with this guy right here. I notice that she's making things more and more expensive for me, so I am going to build right here, which is going to cost 1.5 points. And then build right here, which is yet again going to cost 1.5 points because those spaces are occupied. But I'm also thinking when dividends are called, I wouldn't mind having trains. What we're trying to do is connect from cities to cities and from cities to towns in order to get dividends, which I'll call for dividends here in a minute so you can see how that works. But I would like to get paid on both of these if possible. All right, so this player now wouldn't mind connecting here in the orange because he's the only one that owns orange stock. Yep, she could go ahead and help move on into this, but he's going to be splitting the dividends. So yeah, he's going to say, let's go ahead and let's move orange. But orange is a little bit harder up here because there's some difficult terrains around there. He cannot build into any of the towns yet or the city yet. So that's 1 point, and then because that's a difficult hex, that's 2 points. So that is where he's going to end because that was 3 points. All right, now she is going to say, you know what? I'm going to call for dividends because she has stock. She has this red train in one city and 3 towns, and she doesn't like that I'm going to. I can't score for purple, but she notices, excuse me, that I can't score for purple because I'm not. Oh, yes, I can. Yes, I can. She doesn't like that I could potentially do that. But she's going to go ahead and call for dividends because you know what? We're not going to play through a whole playthrough of this. We're just going to get a good idea of how it works. Now, at any point in the game, you can look into the bag and see how many of these dividend cubes are left, except for when you're drawing for dividends. When you're drawing for dividends, you must blind draw. And so the way this works is you're going to blind draw 3 cubes out. So there's 2, and you're going to blind draw a third. And when you do that, you're going to place these cubes over here. Now, what we're going to be looking for are for cities that have one of these colors. Because there are 2 pink here, that really doesn't mean anything, actually. It only means that cities that have pink and cities that have black cubes are going to be paying cubes for these dividends here. And so let me show you how it works. Let's start over here with yellow and see that there is 1 train in yellow. And in order to get dividends, you're going to have to go from a paying city, which would be a cube with the same color as one of these drawn out, to another paying city, or you're going to have to go from a paying city to a town, and the towns are the ones that don't have cubes on them. You're going to get more dividends if you go from paying city to paying city, as you'll be able to see here, 4 pounds. But if you go from a paying city to a town, you're going to get 2 pounds. So we're going to look right here and see that yellow doesn't go from anything. So they've only got 1. They don't go into a paying town or into a town, or a paying city. So yellow gets nothing. So this place, she's sad about that. But then we go to purple and see that purple goes from a paying city to a town. And so paying cities are worth 4 pounds. A town is only worth 2. So it's going to be 6 pounds that we're going to have. We could even use this chart if we want to, and we could slide this purple over here to say this is for 6 pounds, and if there are 2 shares that are owned, then of course we could, most of us should be able to do simple math, which means both players get 3 pounds. So I'll come over here and I will get 3 pounds for the purple line, and this player is going to get 3 pounds for the purple line as well. All right, we'll move on to orange, and orange doesn't connect from a paying city to a paying city or from a paying city to a town yet, so nothing for orange. Now for blue, it does go from a paying city, because it's pink here, to a town, and that's going to be another 6 pounds. But the good thing for me is I'm the only one with blue, so I'm going to get 6 pounds. So her calling for dividends right now was really advantageous for me. It's going to be okay for her. Honestly, I don't know if she would have normally done that, but I don't want this playthrough to go super long, so I want to go ahead and do that. And so now we're going to finally look at red, and red goes from a paying city, because we got pink and pink, to 3 towns. So 4 pounds, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pounds, and she's the only one with red, so her 10 pounds is all for herself, so not a bad call for dividends at that point. All right, so now that it's my turn, I'm just going to play through a round or 2, and then we're gonna end this. Let's see here. What I'm going to do is I'm looking here going, I've got 5, or 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 pounds. I've got more pounds than anybody here, and money is public knowledge. So I can go ahead now and I could get anything. I'm looking at this red train thing, the red railroad company, and I want that because I want to get in on this train that she's doing well in. So I'm going to bid 11. She's going to go ahead and bid all she has, 13, and I know she doesn't have more, so I'm going to bid 14 and take that. So this game can be extremely take that. So you've got to be thinking at all times about how much money other people have. Is it worth it to build railroads at particular times? And that's really the crux of the game, is making the right move at the right time to invest in the right stocks or move the right railroads at the right time. You really have to jump on your opportunities, and I saw that was a huge opportunity, knowing I had more money than her, to just get in on her company. So now I'm in with 3 different companies here. All right, so now this player over here is going to, he's going to go ahead and build into this town right here. That's going to be 1 point, and then he's going to go, let's see. He'll just go up here and go that 2 points, which equals 3. He's going to try to go up here and then maybe move along over here. All right, so now that it's this player's next turn, I'm going to do one more round of this. She's going to call for special interest. And what happens is whenever you do place a special interest cube is you look into the bag and you can draw out whatever color you want. So there's a pink, there's a black, and a white. And what you're going to do on your turn, your whole turn is used to take one of these cubes and to place it on one of the towns, therefore making it a city, and then being able to pay out more. It'll pay out 4 instead of 2. And she looks over here with red, and she is going to see that she knows that there's going to be more white cubes left. Because we're using more pink and we used a black there. And there's only been 2 whites that have come out here, white cubes that have come out. So she's going to place a white cube, a special interest cube, into one of these towns. Does not want to place it here, does not want to help me at all. Though, if she places it here and we didn't draw out, if we drew out 3 black cubes, I wouldn't get anything because it doesn't go from a paying city to another paying city because it wouldn't be paying. And it doesn't go from paying city to a town because it's no longer a town. But she's going to go ahead here and go to Wicklow and put a special interest cube there. And that's her whole turn. So she's going to put these other cubes right here into the bag. I am going to... You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to, once again, so you all can see it, I'm going to call for dividends because I'm seeing that they have more money than me. They can buy some of these and I can't. And I've got more shares than they do. So I'm going to call for dividends, which means I am going to randomly draw 3 cubes out. And so black and white are going to pay this time. Yellow doesn't get anything again. Purple is going to get nothing because there's not a paying city here because it's only black and white. So that really stinks for me and for this player. So this was good for, I don't know if it was good for her actually because, well, we'll see. We'll see how it ends up. Let me do math later, y'all. So we'll go here to orange and see that, yes, there is a black cube going to a town, 6 pounds. So this player is happy that they're going to get 6 pounds here, and that's all to themselves. Then we'll go to blue, and blue is me all by myself. But it stinks terribly for me because this is not a paying city this round. So I get nothing. So she's very much happy about that. Finally, we're going to go to red, and her and I are going to split red. It's going to be, so there's a paying city here. This is not a paying city, so it's going to be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're going to split that by 2. So we're going to both get 4 pounds. So... wasn't great for her to call dividends right then, but she also didn't know the way those were going to come out. Again, I probably wouldn't have called for dividends. I wouldn't have if I were her, but I'm just trying to give you all an idea of, again, the way that this plays out. Actually, no, wait, I called for dividends, didn't I? Oh, I hope I did. It was my turn. I think I called for dividends. So if that be the case, I didn't do very well because, again, this player got the most money that round. All right, so finally, this player is going to, let's see. If I've got this turns all messed up, I apologize, y'all. I think, I don't know if I did or not, but this player is going to go and place this down here for 2 points and for 3 points. And that's going to be it. That'll give you an idea. Those are all 4 actions that you could do. Hopefully from that little bit of gameplay there, you have a really good idea about how the game plays out. So right now, I'm going to talk about the art and components of the game and give you some of my thoughts on them. And I'm going to say this. The art is fantastic. I love the art on the box here. I'm going to show this right here. I love the art on the box. I also love the art on the board. It's got this like washed out, like cool, like 60s, 50s vibe. Like it feels like an old game that I'm bringing out. Love the art. Ian O'Toole, fantastic job. I like the little train pieces here. These are nice. These are cubes. Hey, they're cubes, but they all have to be the same shape as you're drawing them out of here. The drawbag's fine. These cards are good quality. The money, nice. Thank you that it's not paper money. These are nice cards. So I've got nothing to complain about when it comes to the components. And I only have positive things to say about the art. I like how clean this is. Again, I like the box art. All right, one more thing before we go ahead and talk about gameplay is I want to mention the shelf space that this takes up. Not a whole lot. I love how thin this box is. It's absolutely fantastic. So this is nice. This is not a shelf hog, and I wish more games would do this that can do it, and so glad that Capstone did this. Absolutely fantastic. So let's go ahead and let's talk about gameplay. All right, so let's talk about gameplay. So here's some things that I really, really like about this game. I like how, first of all, how simple it is to teach. I played this with my parents who don't play a whole lot of games. I roped them into playing some games here and there, but they won't play anything that's even medium weight. It's definitely lightweight games for them. And you know what? This was probably one of the more thinky games that I've introduced them to, but they picked it up and they actually beat me whenever we played this game. So, and they enjoyed it. So first of all, again, it's very simple. If you're a big 18xx fan, this could be one of two things. It might be too simple for you, for sure, if you like more complicated games, which I generally do, but also it may be that gateway game into 18xx, that gateway game into some of these harder games. Like, I feel like it's really good for, because I can sit down and play a game to give me that kind of feel with anyone, because it's really, really simple to be able to teach. I also like in this game how it's really all about capitalizing at the right moment. And it's so fun to like sit back and think, okay, how much do I bid on that specific stock? Do I bid for stock right now? Do I go ahead and expand my railroad? When's the best time to do that? And the whole time there's this tension of you going, what's the most advantageous move for me right now? Looking at every other player, thinking of how much money they have, thinking of how much stock's out on the table, and really just making those right moves at the right time. The more I play this game, the more I like it, actually. It's because of the simplicity. I thought maybe the more I play it, the more I'm not going to like it. It might get a little old, but that's not the case. And I'm probably 7-8 plays in right now, which isn't a crazy amount of plays, but I like it because I feel like there's just more to it than I initially thought. My rating has actually gone up. I remember the first time I played it, I thought, it's okay, but I'm starting to really enjoy this game the more I play it, just thinking through the different strategies, and again, when to capitalize on making that right move at the right time. And again, to me, that's absolutely the crux of this game. So let's just do some final thoughts here. Let's just make this pretty short and pretty sweet. I like how easy it is to play. Again, I like capitalizing at the right moment. I like how it's easy to teach other folks. I like how it gives me the feels of a really fun auction-y game, stock economic game, and yet I can do this with just about anyone and pull them in to play this game. So for those reasons, it has a special place on my shelf. Selfishly, would I want to have more to this game? I would say yes for my enjoyment. However, there's other games that fit that niche. And so this has its own special place on my shelf because I can play this again with just about anyone. And I really like that about having this game. And this is going to stay on my shelf for a really long time for that reason. So for that reason, I'm going to give this game an 8 out of 10, which is a really good score. I will not turn down a game of this very often. I think this game is really solid. And again, scratching that itch for maybe a little bit more complicated economic stock simulator game, but I can play this with anyone, and I just think that Irish Gauge is great. And in addition to that, there's a low price point. Like, you can get this most times under $30. So I love how Capstone made it extremely affordable, came with good quality components, and this game is also around an hour long. So you don't have to rope people into these giant 2 to 3 hour long games to get this feel. I could get my feels in like an hour, and just, I really like this game. I really feel like Capstone did a great job. Tom Russell did a great job with this game, and so I definitely recommend it. That's an 8 out of 10 for me. If you are enjoying our channel, we would love for you to subscribe to our channel. Even click on that little bell notification to know when we're coming out with new videos that we're doing weekly. Also, we have a podcast. If you haven't listened to our podcast, we're on Google Play and iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify. Just search Meepletown. Also, we're on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook. All of those are at Meepletown Games. Finally, if you want to dive deeper into our community, join our guild on Board Game Geek. We're Guild 3407. Until next time, thanks for coming down to Meepletown.
Thanks for joining us, and be sure to follow us on Twitter at Meepletown Games, and connect with us on the Meepletown Guild, Guild number 3407, at BoardGameGeek.com, and also subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel. And until next time, thanks for coming down to MeepleTown.